They told you the formula was simple. Work harder. Stay motivated. Never quit. And one day, success will arrive. But look around. Millions of people are doing exactly that. Grinding, hustling, pushing themselves past exhaustion. And still, they feel behind. Still anxious. Still trapped. So let me ask you something uncomfortable. What if the problem isn't your effort, but the game you're playing? What if motivation itself has become a trap? The ancient Stoics warned us about this. They said, do not confuse movement with progress. Do not mistake effort for wisdom. And most importantly, do not give your life to things you do not control. Yet today, people worship motivation like a god. They wake up chasing discipline. They fall asleep blaming themselves. They believe if they just push harder, life will finally reward them. But in 2026, the world does not reward effort. It rewards position. And that is where the myth begins to crack. Because effort feels noble. It feels moral. It feels like control. But effort alone has no direction. A horse can run in circles forever. It is still tired. It is still lost. This is the fate of modern hustle culture. Always running, never arriving. The Stoics would call this slavery. Not slavery to a master, but slavery to a system. A system that says your value is your output. Your worth is your productivity. Your identity is your exhaustion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." But today's world replaced good man with busy man. And the result? People don't live. They perform. They don't think. They react. They don't build. They chase. And slowly, their energy becomes currency for someone else's empire. Here is the brutal truth. You can work 12 hours a day and still be disposable. You can be loyal and still be replaced. You can be skilled and still be underpaid. Not because you failed, but because the structure changed. The Stoics taught that suffering comes from misaligned expectations, and modern society is full of them. We expect effort to equal reward, but the system rewards leverage. We expect stability from jobs, but the system rewards ownership. We expect loyalty to matter, but the system rewards adaptability. So people burn out trying to win a game that no longer exists, and they blame themselves. The Stoics would say this is irrational, because no amount of willpower can fix a broken model. You cannot outrun a machine. You cannot out-hustle an algorithm. You cannot out-discipline a system designed to extract, not empower. Yet people keep trying. They wake up tired. They drink motivation. They watch inspiration. They repeat affirmations. But deep down, they feel something is wrong. That quiet dread, that sense of being behind, that fear of slowing down, that is not laziness. That is awareness. It is your mind noticing that motion is no longer meaning. The Stoics believed in effort, but not blind effort. They believed in directed effort. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." Modern culture skips the first part. It says, do more, work harder, try again, but never asks, toward what? This is why so many people feel stuck despite being busy. They climb ladders and only to realize the wall was wrong. They chase income, only to lose time. They pursue motivation, only to feel emptier. The Stoics warned against this. They taught that freedom is not having more. Freedom is needing less from what you don't control. And wealth is not money. It is autonomy. It is waking up without fear. It is choosing your time. It is not begging for permission to live. Yet modern people confuse wealth with appearance. Big salary, big house, big lifestyle, but small freedom. They own more things, and those things own them. The Stoics would call this a tragic bargain, trading your life for symbols. And the motivation myth feeds this. It says, just keep pushing, but never asks, is this even worth pushing for? In 2026, the future belongs to those who stop asking, how do I work harder? and start asking, how do I stop being replaceable? Not by arrogance, but by design. Designing skills that scale, designing work that compounds, designing systems that do not depend on mood, because motivation is emotional, but structure is permanent. A motivated man can quit. A system does not. The Stoics trained themselves for this. They practiced voluntary discomfort, not to suffer, but to detach, to prove they could survive without excess, to reduce fear, to gain control over desire. Today, people do the opposite. They inflate their lives, they increase expenses, they lock themselves into pressure, then they say, I must work harder. But what they really mean is, I cannot escape. This is the modern cage, invisible, polished, comfortable, and extremely expensive. The Stoics believed that the greatest enemy is not poverty, it is dependency. Dependency on approval, dependency on income, dependency on systems you don't own. They would say, he is not poor who has little, he is poor who wants more. So let me ask you, are you tired, or are you misaligned? Are you unmotivated, or are you running towards something empty? Are you lazy, or are you resisting a future you don't want? Because your exhaustion might not be weakness, it might be wisdom. The world trains you to ignore that signal. It says, push through, man up, stay hungry. But the Stoics listened to fatigue. They saw it as information. Information that your effort is misplaced. True discipline is not doing more. It is choosing better. Better skills, better systems, better leverage, better ownership, better questions. Instead of asking, how do I earn more? Ask, how do I reduce my dependence? Instead of asking, how do I stay motivated? Ask, how do I design a life that doesn't require constant force? Instead of asking, how do I compete? Ask, how do I position? Because motivation fades, but position compounds. A man with leverage can rest. A man with only effort cannot. And the future will not be kind to those who confuse the two. The Stoics taught preparation, not panic. They did not fear change. They expected it. They trained for loss. They trained for uncertainty. They trained for independence of mind. Today, people train for performance. More output, more grind, more visibility, but they neglect the deeper work. Control your desires. Control your reactions. Control your direction. That is real power. Not domination over others, but mastery over self. And here is the paradox. When you stop chasing motivation, you gain momentum. When you stop worship and hustle, you gain clarity. When you stop running blindly, you see paths others miss. This is how the quiet winners are born. Not loud, not flashy, not exhausted, but patient, strategic, detached. They do not post hustle quotes. They build leverage. They do not fear rest. They value perspective. They do not beg for opportunity. They create optionality. And slowly, their life begins to move without force. That is Stoic wealth. Not luxury, not fame, but resilience. Not excess, but control. Not motivation, but alignment. So if you feel behind, good. It means you are noticing the illusion. If you feel tired of trying, good. It means your mind is ready for strategy. And if this message feels uncomfortable, that is the beginning of freedom. Because the hardest truth is this: you do not need more motivation. You need a better target. You do not need to work harder. You need to work with leverage. You do not need to be richer. You need to be less dependent. That is what the Stoics would teach in 2026. Not hustle, not grind, not endless effort, but intelligent restraint, strategic action, and emotional independence. So the question is no longer, am I motivated? The real question is, am I building something that can survive without me? Because one path leads to burnout, the other leads to sovereignty. One leads to exhaustion, the other leads to quiet power. One keeps you running, the other lets you choose where to stand, and that is the end of the motivation myth. Not because effort is useless, but because effort without wisdom is slavery. And wisdom is learning which battles deserve your life. If this message stayed with you, it means you are already stepping outside the old game. And the moment you do that, you stop being controlled by it. Not louder, not richer, not faster, but freer. And that is the wealth no system can take from you.